You know, life is the greatest teacher. You learn things through what you experience. And so, that was hard because trust issues, you know, you just don't know who to trust. You don't know who likes you for you.
They never did a boy his mom. I didn't pay for the tickets, but I want my money back. I think something happened to Brandy, conspiracy theory. So she's on stage, and then out of nowhere, she goes, "Hey, y'all, the sound is off. Sound is off." It's weird.
His family deeply concerned about her health today after an emergency that saw her getting rushed to the hospital yesterday after she fell ill at her home.
Something went very wrong on stage in Chicago. And now Brandy and Monica's long-awaited reunion tour has turned into one of the messiest R&B scandals of the year. What was supposed to be a celebration of sisterhood, legacy, and healing has suddenly exploded into rumors of drug use, betrayal, and decades-old tension boiling over in front of thousands of fans. The moment Brandy stumbled off stage, everything changed, and now insiders are claiming Monica may have exposed her longtime rival's darkest secret. But before we get into what really went down that night, let's rewind, because this story runs deep. What was supposed to be a dream comeback became a public unraveling. The moment Brandy's knees buckled under those bright Chicago lights, the crowd thought it was part of the show, until the music cut, her mic dropped, and her team rushed to the stage in a panic. Within seconds, phones were out, the footage went viral, and the same headlines that once crowned her the vocal Bible were now questioning whether Brandy had just relapsed on tour. But what really sent fans into overdrive wasn't just Brandy's collapse. It was Monica's reaction. Because while one half of R&B's most iconic duo was being escorted off stage, the other stood there, poised and silent, almost too calm. Moments later, Monica posted a cryptic story saying, "You can't save everybody, even the ones you love." And that one line turned a medical emergency into a full-blown betrayal scandal. Now the internet is split. Some say Brandy's battling exhaustion. Others swear Monica just exposed her for something darker. But to understand why this moment hit so hard, you have to know the truth about their history. The jealousy, the rumors, and the feud that's been simmering beneath every smile since the 90s. Because this wasn't just a fall, this was years of tension finally collapsing in real time. It happened during their third show in Chicago, a night that was supposed to prove the Boy Is Mine tour wasn't just nostalgia, but history in the making. The lights dimmed, the crowd roared, and Brandy stepped forward to start her verse of Have You Ever. But before she could finish the line, something was off. Her voice cracked, her breath sounded shallow, and then she froze. Eyes unfocused, body swaying. At first, fans thought it was a dramatic pause, a bit of stage flair. But then came the stumble. Brandy's hand gripped the mic stand, and within seconds, she dropped it. Gasps rippled through the arena. The band kept playing for a beat, unsure what to do, until the lights cut abruptly and stagehands rushed in for both sides. Phones were everywhere. Clips flooded Twitter and TikTok within minutes. She looked off the whole night. One fan posted. Another wrote, "You could tell something was wrong." Her energy was low. Her speech was slurred. Someone else said, "She just walked right off mid-song," and Monica didn't even look surprised. And that's what people couldn't stop replaying. Monica's reaction. Calm, composed, almost cold. She turned toward the audience, gave a short nod to the band, and quietly said, "Give us a second, y'all," before walking off herself. No panic, no visible concern, just silence, the kind that says more than words ever could. Backstage, chaos. Dancers whispering. Tech crew being told to stay quiet. And according to one insider, Monica was overheard saying, "She's not okay. I told them this would happen." That one sentence, whether she meant it as concern or frustration, spread like wildfire online. Within an hour, hashtags like #PrayForBrandy and #MonicaKnew were trending. Some claimed Brandy had suffered from dehydration. Others accused Monica of exposing her mid-crisis. By morning, gossip blogs were spinning overdose rumors. claiming she'd been pushed too far, trying to keep up with the tour schedule. The next day, Brandy broke her silence on Instagram. A clean, carefully worded note. "Thank you for your prayers. I experienced exhaustion and dehydration, but I'm resting and ready to be back soon." She added a few heart emojis, but the tone was eerily familiar because fans remembered the same statement from 2017 when she fainted mid-flight and later cited dehydration then, too. And this time, people weren't buying it. The comments were brutal. Not the same excuse again. Be real with your fans. Something deeper is going on. Others pointed fingers at Monica, saying she could have defended her friend publicly, but chose not to. And whether intentional or not, Monica's silence became the loudest sound in the room. But here's why people weren't so quick to believe this was just exhaustion. Because for Brandy and Monica, the line between friendship and rivalry has always been blurred, and this moment felt like history repeating itself. Their tension goes all the way back to 1998, when The Boy Is Mine turned two teenage prodigies into chart-topping competitors. The industry pitted them against each other. Two young black women told there could only be one R&B princess. MTV hyped their feud. Radio shows asked them who sang better, and even during award shows, they were kept on opposite sides of the stage. Behind the scenes, things allegedly got physical. There were rumors of a slap backstage before their MTV Video Music Awards performance, an incident both have danced around for decades but never fully denied. Years later, interviews hinted that management and record labels played them like chess pieces, feeding off their tension for publicity. Still, time seemed to heal some wounds. Their 2020 Versus battle was emotional, two women reclaiming their power, laughing, reminiscing, even announcing plans for a joint tour. Fans believed the beef was finally over. But old energy has a way of creeping back in when the spotlight burns too bright. So when Brandy hit that stage in Chicago and faltered, and Monica stood there calm as the crowd panicked, people couldn't help but feel déjà vu, like the rivalry had never truly died. The whispers of jealousy, the subtle shade, the unspoken competition, it all came rushing back. And what was supposed to be a triumphant reunion suddenly looked like a public, unraveling 25 years in the making. As the dust settled from the Chicago show, whispers started to spill out from behind the velvet ropes. And what they suggested was far more complicated than simple dehydration. Anonymous sources began contacting blogs, claiming Brandy had been struggling in the weeks leading up to the concert. One insider told the Neighborhood Talk that Brandy hadn't been eating, barely sleeping, and was pushing herself way past her limit. Another alleged that she'd had a panic episode during soundcheck earlier that same day, but insisted her team begged her to perform anyway to avoid canceling another sold-out show. Then came the darker rumor, one that her camp immediately tried to shut down. Multiple crew members claimed they saw paramedics backstage administering oxygen, not just fluids. The word collapse quickly mutated into incident, then into overdose, as gossip sites twisted the story for clicks. By the next morning, Brandy fainted had become Brandy nearly died, and her PR team was in full crisis mode. Sources close to the situation said Brandy's management was scrambling to control optics, deleting videos, calling media outlets, and instructing backup singers and dancers to stay silent. Her publicist even reached out to fan pages, asking them to remove misleading content. But the damage was already done, because once the internet smells blood, the truth rarely stands a chance. Meanwhile, Monica moved differently. While Brandy's camp went into overdrive, Monica remained quiet until she posted a short, carefully worded message on her Instagram story. Not every night goes as planned, but God's grace covers it all. It was short, soft, and seemingly supportive, but depending on who you asked, it was either a prayer or a punchline. Some fans praised her professionalism, saying she handled that with class. Others accused her of throwing shade, reading it as, that's what happens when your demons catch up. And that's the thing about Monica. She's mastered the art of saying everything without saying much at all. Her message was polished, perfectly vague, and timed just as Brandy's team tried to regain control of the narrative. Whether it was intentional or not, Her calmness only made Brandy's chaos look louder. Behind the scenes, tensions grew. Brandy's inner circle reportedly felt betrayed. They wanted Monica to publicly shut down the overdose rumors, not fuel speculation with Bible verses and poetic timing. But Monica's camp saw it differently, insisting she was simply focusing on the show and letting Brandy's team handle Brandy. To the public, though, it looked like something else entirely. Like one woman was cleaning up a mess while the other was quietly distancing herself from it. And in an industry built on image, that kind of silence can speak louder than any press release ever could. As the public kept speculating, few stopped to consider what might really be happening behind Brandy's polished image. Because beneath the glam, the legacy, and the perfectly rehearsed smile, she's been quietly carrying more than most realize. Over the past few years, Brandy's faced a mountain of personal and professional stress. Lawsuits from former employees, unpaid wages, and accusations of age discrimination, all painting her as a diva in decline. Add in financial strain, pressure to reclaim her throne in an industry that often sidelines women over 40, and a grueling tour schedule that demanded perfection every single night. And it's no wonder something finally gave way. Those close to her say she's been juggling it all while trying to be a mother, a mentor, and a living R&B legend, all at once. But fame has a cruel way of turning resilience into spectacle. So when she stumbled in Chicago, the world didn't see a woman under pressure. They saw a scandal. Meanwhile, Monica's story reads differently. Just weeks before the tour began, she revealed she'd suffered temporary paralysis in one of her vocal cords. A terrifying diagnosis for any singer. But instead of backing out, Monica pushed through with grace and grit, saying she was relying on faith, not fear. She performed through pain, hit her notes, and held her composure, even when Brandy's health faltered beside her. That contrast, Brandy breaking down while Monica powered through, became the perfect storm for comparison. Suddenly, social media crowned Monica the professional, the one who held it together, while Brandy was labeled the problem. And just like that, the decades-old rivalry that everyone thought had been buried was dragged right back into the spotlight. The truth? Both women were under immense strain. But in the court of public opinion, it only takes one stumble to undo years of progress. And Brandy's misstep was all it took for the old narrative to rise again. In the days after the incident, insiders say Brandy wasn't just hurt by the rumors. She was devastated by the silence. What cut deepest wasn't what Monica said, but what she didn't say. As overdose speculation spread like wildfire, Brandy's camp reportedly reached out to Monica's team, asking if she'd join in releasing a joint statement clarifying that Brandy hadn't used any substances, just exhaustion and dehydration. But according to several sources, Monica's team declined, saying they didn't want to get involved in crisis management. For Brandy, that felt like betrayal. This tour was supposed to be about redemption. Two women healing old wounds and celebrating their shared legacy. But instead, the optics now suggested one was cleaning up while the other quietly watched the fallout unfold. Those close to Brandy say she felt blindsided, that Monica's silence allowed the gossip to fester, making Brandy look unstable while Monica's image stayed spotless. And that stung because this wasn't just business. It was supposed to be personal growth, a full-circle moment of unity. Now, insiders claim the energy between them has shifted. On stage, they're professional, even warm at times. But backstage, things are ice cold. No laughter, no sisterhood, just two icons keeping their distance for the sake of the show. The Boys' Mind reunion was meant to prove that time heals all wounds. Instead, it started to look like the wounds never truly healed. They were just waiting for the spotlight to reopen them. Touring isn't just about music, it's survival. Behind every glamorous stage photo and fan video is a brutal schedule that can break even the strongest performers. City after city, press runs, meet and greets, sleepless flights, rehearsals, interviews, and the constant demand to look sound and be perfect. For Brandy, who's carried the weight of being called the vocal Bible for nearly 3 decades, the pressure isn't just professional, it's personal. Every note she sings is compared to who she used to be. Every glance, every stumble, becomes evidence that maybe time has caught up. And that kind of scrutiny eats at you, mentally, physically, spiritually, especially when your comeback is being watched by millions who already made up their minds about who's the problem and who's the professional. Because in the digital age, perception moves faster than truth. A 5-second clip on TikTok can erase years of artistry. A cryptic Instagram story can start a wildfire that no PR team can put out. And no matter what Brandy says, the internet loves a downfall more than a redemption arc. Now, as the Boy Is Mine tour continues, the question hanging in the air isn't just about music anymore. It's about endurance. Can Brandy recover? Physically, mentally, and emotionally? Or will this pressure push her into another collapse? Insiders say promoters are watching closely. Ticket sales are still strong, but fans are now attending shows half worried, half curious, wondering if Brandy will make it through the night without incident. Every performance has become a test. Every breath, a headline waiting to happen. But here's the bittersweet truth. This could also be her moment of rebirth. If Brandy continues to show up, to sing through the whispers, and to own her story instead of hiding from it, she could turn this entire ordeal into the ultimate comeback. The kind that reminds everyone why she was crowned a vocal Bible in the first place. But one misstep, one more feint, one more rumor, and this tour could end not in triumph, but tragedy. The stakes have never been higher. Whether it was exhaustion, stress, or something deeper, one thing's for sure. The boy may be theirs, but the spotlight has never been so brutal. For two women who defined an era of R&B, this tour was supposed to be about legacy and sisterhood. Instead, it's become a mirror reflecting everything they've survived. The fame, the pressure, the pain, and the price of still chasing perfection under public judgment. But maybe, just maybe, if Brandy can find her balance and Monica can find her grace, both of them can finally do what they've been trying to do since the 90s. Sit on top of the world.